Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather. I am a mama to 4 kiddos ages 10, 8, 3, and 1. And in today's video, I am going to be telling you my 3.5-hour from start to finish labor and delivery story. So a little backstory on me. This was my 3rd pregnancy with my daughter. I had 2 previous labor and deliveries. They were not what I would call natural. I was having some signs of labor, nothing too intense, and then when I had gone into the hospital, they gave me pitocin. So in this one, I was really interested in going fully natural. I didn't really want to have any medical intervention. I still wanted to deliver at a hospital though, but as far as like pain medication or wanting pitocin, I really wasn't interested in that. Now I had worked my whole entire pregnancy. I had like a regular Monday through Friday 9 to 5 job. I really wasn't in the financial position to be able to take time off of work before I had her. Because I was the sole breadwinner at this point, I just didn't have the ability to take time before she was born off. So I knew I was going to be working up until the moment that I had her. Now my due date was April 19th. And I think that was a Saturday, so I was planning maybe on working up until the 18th, which would have been a Friday, and I would have had plenty of time to just go to the hospital and not have to contact work or anything. So, or at least that's what I thought. Anyways, on the 16th, April 16th, I woke up as normal, ready to get to work, and at this point I was really sluggish because I was really big and pregnant, and so I just took a long time to do everything. So I woke up at 7, went to take a shower. I was feeling good though. I was just obviously tired. I didn't have any aches or pains or anything going on like that. So I went and took my shower, was getting ready. Towards the end of the shower, I noticed maybe a little bit of backache. Not too bad. I kind of had mild cramps as well. Didn't really think too much of it. So as I got out of the shower, I noticed the cramps getting a little worse. So I alerted my husband and I was like, hey, you know, this is what's happening. I don't really know if I'm in labor, because at that point I had never experienced traditional labor. And so I wasn't sure if this was like we needed to go. I was just like, okay, well, let me try and finish getting ready for work and we'll figure it out by the time I have to go. So I'm getting finished ready for work. I'm getting the kids dressed because at this point I had a 7 and a 5-year-old who were going to school regularly. So we were getting them ready for school, and then like a light switch, it was getting really bad. And there was no like gradual, it was just like it went from 0 to 60 in a very short period of time. So it was like tolerable, and then it became a little not so tolerable. And I said, well, I told my husband, well, you know, we pretty much need to go. At this point, it was about 8 o'clock, and my husband was like, okay, well, we gotta call my mother-in-law because she was the one to watch my older kids while we went to the hospital and did all this stuff. So he called her. We said, we're gonna bring the kids over and then we're gonna go straight to the hospital. Get in the car, we're driving to my mother-in-law's house. It's about maybe a 10-minute drive, and I'm starting to feel a little more pain as we're driving along. I made sure to put down a towel. My water still hadn't broke. It was just up in the air. Like I said, I wasn't really sure what this was, if this was really true or if they were just gonna send me home. So we get to my mother-in-law's house. She's trying to exchange pleasantries, but at this point I was so worried because the pain kept getting worse quickly that I was just like, okay, hi, bye, we gotta go. So we hop in the car. Now, mind you, our hospital that we chose to deliver at was about 30 minutes away on freeway. So I was already stressed a little bit about that. I didn't want to have the baby in the car, for obvious reasons. So we hopped in the car. He's driving. At this point, I'm in severe pain every time, with every contraction. And my husband's trying to be real sweet and talk to me and make me laugh. I wasn't having any of it. I always say I was white knuckling it in the passenger seat. I was just holding on for dear life, holding on to the oh, you know what bar, and I was just in so much pain. Every bump he went over, every pothole, anything sent just a severe pain down and up my spine. I was just not having it. But when the contractions were gone, I was cool. You know, for a split, you know, for a couple minutes there, I was back to normal. And I'm like, okay, we can do this. You know, and at this point, I still, was not sure if it was labor. So we get to the hospital, and this was in between a contraction, so I felt good. I was like, no, I got it. I got my stuff. I was walking in to the hospital, and then another contraction hit, and I was down on the floor. It put me on my knees. My husband was just like, oh, we were walking 1 minute, and I was on the floor the next. He was just like, what do I do? And luckily, obviously, it's labor and delivery, so the security guards automatically got me in a wheelchair and wheeled me upstairs to the triage labor and delivery area. This was, I think, maybe 8:30, 8:45 when we finally got there, maybe 9 at the latest. Got there and went upstairs, and I was just in seething pain every time. Automatically, they put me in a bed. They obviously do your urine, they weigh you, all that stuff. And then finally they checked me. I was at 4 centimeters. Obviously that's considered active labor, so they were gonna wait for me to get into a room. And so they started giving me my IV. And at that point, I knew at that point that I was not going to be able to withstand the pain. I had 2 previous epidurals, and I had gotten a taste of what the real thing was going to be like, and I didn't want any of it. I didn't want to have any of it. I was in so much pain. So I started asking for the epidural right away. Like, I need it, because I knew from having 2 previous ones that it takes a while, obviously, for the anesthesiologist to get up there and prepped and everything. So I was just like, I want it. Put me on the list, get him up here as soon as possible, please. So of course the nurses are very numb to everything at this point. They deal with delivering moms all the time, and I was at a 4, so they really didn't take my pain too seriously. I don't blame them, no hate to them. But I knew that this was going really quickly because of how much pain I was going through with every single contraction. Like I said, there was no gradual, it was just like from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds or in a few contractions. So they finally put me into a room. Honestly, I don't know what time this was at. I was in so much pain that all I can really relay to you guys is that all I kept asking for was the epidural. They were trying to ask me those questions, obviously the intake questions, who's your dog, all that stuff, and I was just like, why are you talking to me? Talk to my husband. Like, I know you have to do this. It's a formality to ask me, you know, if I'm feeling threatened in my relationship. Like, all those ridiculous questions. They're not ridiculous, but they were ridiculous to me in that moment, because I'm like, I'm going through the worst pain that I've ever experienced in my life, and you're asking me if I feel threatened in my relationship. Like, no, come on. And I had pre-registered, so they knew if I was group B positive, they knew all that stuff. So I was just really annoyed that they were trying to ask me so many questions, and I was in just tremendous pain. Anyways, so we finally get into the room. I'm still asking for the epidural, and she's just like, okay, well, we have to call your doctor and all this stuff. So this is between 9:30, 9:45. After they hooked me up to the monitors, they saw that I was having really hard contractions. They decided to check me again, and when they checked me again, I was at a 9. It was a newer nurse, so she was having trouble really pinpointing exactly how many centimeters I was dilated, but she thought 9. So the seasoned nurse checked me, and she was just like, okay, she's at about an 8. So they called the on-call doctor, a doctor who was in the facility at that point, in to check me, and I was just asking him, like, can I get the epidural? Like, I was asking anybody who walked into that room, like, is the epidural ready? Can I get the epidural? Like, where's my epidural? I was crazy at this point, and normally I'm not like that. Normally I have a high pain tolerance, but it really hurt. So he was just like, he checked me and he was, you know, feeling things out, and he's just like, I'm sorry, you're almost ready to deliver. The only way to take this pain away is for you to deliver your baby. Like, there's nothing we can do at this point. You're gonna have to do this all natural. It's just what it is. He's like, your water, the water sac that the baby is in is like bulging at this point. I'm gonna break it, and you know, we can get this started. And I said, okay. At this point, poor nurses. I remember looking up at the nurse and being like, showing her my arm, like, can you give me anything, like anything? No, I know you can't give me an epidural, but is there anything you can give me to take away this pain? And she's like, no, I'm sorry, you just really have to focus on getting this baby out. So he broke my water, and at this point I didn't have a problem with it because with my two oldest, they broke my water. I don't think it must be something with my body, because I've never experienced my water breaking ever with my 4 pregnancies. So it is what it is. And at this point, I'm ready to push. Everything's good. I am pretty much grunting and moaning for my life. I'm usually not like that. When I'm in pain, I internalize it, but I couldn't at this point. I was holding my legs, just praying that it just is all done right away. My husband was trying to console me. I wasn't having any of it. He's never ever seen me in that much pain before. So finally, at 10:28 a.m., my daughter Leah was born, and she weighed 8 pounds 9 ounces, and she was perfect and healthy. And as soon as she came out, I was just like, I'm not in pain anymore. I'm ready to go home. Which is so funny, because obviously when you have an epidural, you're not really like that. But one plus side to it being natural, I was perfect after. As soon as she came out, no more pain, nothing. And I think they had to stitch me a little bit, but I didn't care. It was nothing compared to that pain that I just experienced, and luckily was over. So yeah, I was super happy. I was like eating within 5 minutes, and I had her in my arms, and my spirits quickly turned, and I was very happy, for one, that I had a new baby, and for two, that it was over with. Well, there you go, guys. That is my 3.5-hour labor and delivery story. I wanted to put it out there, not because I'm pushing an agenda, whether or not you should have an epidural or an all natural or in a hospital or at home. I'm simply sharing my experience, because when first-time moms ask me what's my biggest advice for delivery, I always say, expect the unexpected. It's always great to have a plan, but never be so married to it that you feel bad about yourself when something happens and you have to go completely off plan. None of my pregnancies and deliveries were the same. None of them went to plan, and that's okay. I felt bad about it with my first, but by the third, I was just like, come what have you. It's all a part of the process, and as long as you get a healthy baby and a healthy mama at the end, doesn't matter how you got there. So if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, comment down below, and let me know if you have any crazy birthing stories. And if you're new here, please subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.